a playlist original.
Hey, what's up? It's your host, Torry, and who is ready to be petty? Welcome back to another episode of RTBP. I'm so glad you're here. I cannot believe we are celebrating 4 years of RTBP. It is absolutely unbelievable to me. Like, seriously unimaginable. And this podcast would not be possible without people like you, the listeners, obvi. And I cannot wait to celebrate the RTBP community this week. We have done a clip show for the past, I guess, 3 years, ever since we had clips to make into a clip show. And that is where I pulled 10 of the best clips. Not best. I don't want to say best because obviously there's way more. I would fucking hope so. But 10 moments that stood out to me. I usually do a prompt. Like last year we had mostly listener submitted ones. I think 8 out of 10 were submitted by listeners. I put up some prompts, but I don't think people got it. Like, I don't think I worded it properly. That's my B. So if you're listening to this episode next year when Halloween rolls around, you will know exactly what to do because I will be asking for clips again. So basically I have a Word doc, and whenever I publish an episode, if there's something that really stood out to me, I will put it in this Word doc. And so I have just a random 10 clips that I have pulled this year. Hopefully next year it'll be you, of just moments that have really stuck out to me. Basically funny things, like funny little clips that I have found from this past year. I didn't celebrate too much this year. I feel like it was really low key because I am still in that Survivor game, that online game. It is like day 30. We're down to 8 people from 18. And I feel like my mind has been elsewhere. So my apologies if I have been MIA, but that wraps up in 10 days. So I will be back on my RTBP grind then. But these clips bring me so much joy. It's been so much fun pulling them, honestly. And I really do appreciate you all and my guests and my patrons. And y'all are so special to me, even if we don't talk ever or if we talk all the time in DMs. I just really, really appreciate it. And I'm so glad that you bring me along on your walks and your trips and your chores and in your car rides and stuff like that. I really, really, really can't say how much I appreciate it. And yeah, I am excited to celebrate 4 years of the pod. So this show is just going to be those top 10 clips. I'll intro them and you'll listen to them and then we'll move on. So I hope you get a lot of laughs out of this episode. So let's get into it. Let's get into the top 10. Also, they're in chronological order. They're not in top 10 order. So I don't know why I keep saying that. But let's get to the first clip. Honestly, this is a clip with Jenna from Date Card Podcast. We are talking about Tyler Cameron's sexy photo shoot from episode 68. We go from 68 all the way to the hundreds in this show and Patreon and beyond. So let's listen to Jenna and I talk about Tyler Cameron's whole package. Let's just say that in clip number 1. Okay, moving from my most hated Bachelor contestant to my least hated, Tyler Cameron released the most scandalous photos, basically full peen.
We saw the full Monty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some weird like photo shoot for this man magazine called The Man. I'm not sure if I'm saying it.
That
Maybe
killed
I'm saying
me.
it wrong. I can't.
That killed me. I was like, I feel like, is this a gay, like for gay men?
Thank you, right? I mean,
because like, who's the audience of The Man? Like,
and you know what? That's what I learned. If I learned nothing this summer was that Kenny Broch or whatever his name is, can make working for gay modeling things work for you. He has a long history of modeling for gay magazines and photo sites and things like that. So good for him, and I love that for Tyler. But yeah, it was just like funny to me because the whole photo shoot was like he has a fucking bucket, and it's like I'm like, are we doing the ice bucket challenge? I don't know. He's like dumping it on him. He looks like a fucking fool. There's one photo he's like wearing the bucket as a hat. I was like, okay, we've gone to a weird timeline. And then the last scandalous photo is just like he's wearing these whitey tighties and they're wet from the water, and you see so much of this man's foreskin.
I know.
Oh my god.
It's all foreskin. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to like edit down the volume of my laugh. Like, I'm dying. I feel like I'm blushing. Thank God this is audio only. Oh my god. Jenna almost did another spit take. We're like 0 for 2, but I'm waiting for it.
I can't ruin this laptop. Okay. Oh, fuck me up. It's so good, y'all. If you want to check it out, go to Date Card Pod on Instagram. I posted a meme about it. That's all you need to know. It's just, even if you've never watched The Bachelor, it's an important photo for history.
Yes, absolutely. I just like, okay, then we can like swiftly move on, but like I just like, I can't believe the fucking hold that this man has on the internet and myself. Like the way that I clicked through that Instagram like carousel at the speed was like, I've never moved quicker. Like,
I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. I just literally, that sounded like Kourtney Kardashian, but like I just literally die every time I think about that clip because I just would have never guessed that the word foreskin would come up on this podcast. So funny. Again, check out Jenna's pod, Date Card, and her campaign, Roses for Everybody. Let's move on to clip number 2. This was episode 78. Kirsten and I were talking about Celebrity Big Brother back in February 2021. And we were a little bit nervy, or at least I was, if I ever got cast on the show. Here is the clip from episode 78.
Yeah, I was terrified for live feeds. I was like I wasn't concerned that I was gonna like say something that would get me canceled or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not scared from that perspective, but it's just like if you are on the live feeds, you could easily like show like part of your body that you don't want shown, or like just do something like real. Like I feel like I'd probably be like picking a wedgie and I would get like like Brian Scally would gif it and like it would be a meme forever and I like want to be dead.
Like literally.
Right? Like I just feel like stuff like that, or like what if I pick my nose? Like
yes, like we could be Raven. Like remember all the gifs of Raven? Just like
when I think of being Raven, that is not the first thing I think of.
What do you think of?
With Raven, I think about how she would hook up with Matt Klein's and then he would like clean himself up with like a kitchen towel and then use it to clean the whole kitchen.
Like if that happened to me and was caught on camera, like I would end it all.
Like I know I was talking to our mutual friend Haley Strong recently, and it was someone had posted like a pregnancy announcement, and she was like, if I had to like say something where people would know that I had intercourse before, I would like want to die of embarrassment. Like I don't want anyone to know. And so like the idea of like going into the Big Brother house and hooking up is nightmare, absolute nightmare.
Nightmare for you. Like I can't have a wedding because I don't want people to see my side profile. Like, so I actually can't go on TV. Like,
if people can't see your side profile, that is definitely a barrier to entry.
Like, it would just be like screenshots of me like trying to like game with people, and I'd just be like trying to angle my face like to the camera.
Well, you would be like Big Brother 17 that Shelly was like the older woman.
Yes,
and when she's like yelling at Clay, like, how dare you have this conversation with me right now? I'm not wearing makeup. She's like, I look like shit. And then now the camera's on me.
Literally me, like, and I know that I am not the only one that would be worried about that side profile, but let's move on to clip number 3. Maddie from the Parked Car Combos podcast came to discuss episodes 3 through 10 of And Just Like That. In bonus episode 15, we talked for over 2 hours. I cannot wait to podcast with her about season 2. And we were talking about, well, everything, but how the Rambo nickname just isn't working out for Miranda. This is the longest clip, I think, of the episode. It's just like 10 minutes, but I was literally losing my mind. So here is the clip from bonus episode 15 with Maddie.
People felt bad for Steve because Steve was written as this like literal sad sack loser.
Okay, we need to talk about it.
Why didn't they make Steve terrible? They should have made Steve like terrible, like he cheated on Miranda, and so we hate him now, and now we can at least justify Miranda cheating on him. They did not. They did Steve no favors.
Okay,
they did Steve no favors.
Like literally, I am dying laughing because now my like Instagram like explore page is just like hot pics of Steve from the original series.
Like Steve thirst traps. I
yes,
love this.
like him going to play basketball with Aiden and like a cutoff and stuff. It's just like so
iconic.
Like, so iconic, but it's just so fucking funny. So we're on to episode 5.
I hated this episode.
Yeah, because it really kicks off with Miranda and Che. Like, let's talk about the hookup because
like literally, do we have to? We do, but I hate it.
We could have just done one episode on just this like 4 minutes
for sure.
Like, of the episode. Like, okay, so like her nickname of Rambo makes me want a KMS. Like, not to be,
it is terrible,
not to be inappropriate, but I actually wanted my next breath to be my last. I was praying for God to intervene.
Like, it was, and you wrote the Rambo nickname is so desperate. Could not have summed it up better myself.
It's
like
so
it was
despy.
He was trying.
Oh my God.
So
oh my God.
hard.
Oh my
She's
God.
like, hey Jay, it's Rambo. Shut up. Shut up.
It's Rambo. Like that was.
You have a name. Use it. Like, what do you mean?
That was me in high school when like the hot football player like calls you a nickname once and then you're like,
yes.
Like I just assumed
so
this identity of like whatever the fuck the nickname was. Oh my God.
It is so cringy, and it just plays into the whole cringiness that is this relationship.
Yeah.
100% on Miranda's side. Like,
yes.
Again, I think it's just like her fall from grace that's so off-putting.
Yeah.
Because it's like she was always known in Sex and the City as like the high-powered attorney, like doesn't take anyone's shit.
Yeah.
Is like a badass bitch. Like she's got it all going on, right? Like, is she a mess? Sure, but everyone is on the show. Like, that's the whole point. And I think just to see her become this like desperate puppy dog, I'm like, what is going on? I hate every second of it. If I were Carrie, I literally I would have rolled over and dialed 911. Like, I do not know.
She couldn't do it for Big, but she could have done it for Rambo.
That is Carrie's fatal flaw in this series. Not calling 911 for Big, but for not calling 911 on Rambo and Che in the kitchen.
They deserved jail time.
Literal jail time. First of all, how bad of a friend do you have to be that your friend is incapacitated in her bed after having a literal like hip surgery where she has explicitly told all of her friends that she doesn't want to be all alone.
Yeah.
And then you leave her be and cheat on your husband in the kitchen? Aggressively? It wasn't
so
it was not
aggressive.
it was not a peck on the cheek. It was not like it was not a hug that lingered. It was aggressive.
It was aggressive, the hand over the mouth.
It was loud and that was unnecessary because she's napping in the other room. How big do you think this apartment is? It's New York City. Like, come on, she's right there.
It's like open concept. Like
Open
she
floor
has
plan,
no
yes.
fucking doors.
Nope.
How dare you?
She did not stand a chance. And then she's like, "Oh, I thought you were asleep." Anyone would wake up to that. What do you mean?
And like, does that make it any better? Like,
Never.
What a pathetic
Never.
excuse. Okay,
Oh, let me cheat on my husband when you're asleep. Sorry.
like, what the fuck? Okay, and then like, I will say the production of this, like, there was a horror story vibe where you could see Carrie not being able to move, her eyes like saucers, panicky, reaching for the Snapple bottle, like all that shit.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Disgusting. But it's, yes, I agree because the emotion it's supposed to elicit out of the audience, it did. I fully was like, I can't look, but I can't look away. I don't know what's going on. I hate every second of it. Like, I fully felt like I was Carrie in that situation. I was like, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll just pee in the Snapple bottle.
I will say one thing in favor of the Che Miranda storyline, and then I will never say anything positive about it again. I will say, if the show, and I might get roasted for this, if the show didn't have so many storylines and they narrowed it down and they showed us the full arc of why Miranda is being like this instead of these like random snippets, because I'm like, how do you love Che? You've talked to them twice. How do you want a relationship with them when you haven't even discussed what a relationship would look like for you two? Like, it just, I do like the concept of a character, even if they're so strong in their convictions and their values in their life, at 55, wake up and be like, holy shit, like
Love
like,
that.
that's cool.
Love
I
that.
really like that.
Fully supported that.
But it's like, we didn't see that. We just saw these rash decisions. And I
Yes.
think that's why I didn't like it.
We didn't see the buildup of it at
Yeah.
all. I feel like because even when the show first started, it was like, oh, I quit my job. I'm going back to school. We didn't see really why she quit her job. We didn't see things were getting like so bad. And we saw that she was clearly like bored with Steve and with, you know, her son and that whole like weird, like any scene that was taken in their house. I was like, get me out of this place. I don't want to be here.
I know.
But it wasn't enough to make me sympathize with her to the extent where I'm like, sure, go cheat on your husband, who has been such a big character on the show. Like, fans love Steve, you know what I mean? Like, he's a good guy. He's kind of like the show's good guy. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, Big, not a good guy a lot of the time.
Totally.
Steve was like the crutch for the good guy complex. And to have him be done so dirty when he did nothing wrong, he's just like being a husband, and like they're in their 50s and they're just married. It's like exactly what married couples do at 50.
Yeah.
And then for her to have this like midlife crisis, again, it's totally fine that she wants to like change career paths and like do all these different things, and like realizes that her life is like so stale and she wants to do other things. That is great. The way that they did it, where she's like hurting other people and like just like not, I just didn't like that part of it. I feel like if you're going to be so empowered and like do all these things, then do it the right way, and like do it in a way where people want to like look back and be like, I'm so inspired by what you did. I want to go do that. Not like oh, I should go cheat on my husband because you did that. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And like kind of brings us to episode 6 when they're having like the picnic in the park. And like the iconic line that Charlotte says, like, a finger made you feel alive, which I like that just
Iconic.
That was so original Sex in the City that I just loved it so much. But like, you're right. Like, why wasn't that conversation between those 3 friends when they find out that Che and Miranda hooked up? Again, they were like so nonchalant about it. I was like, you know, like, she's been married for 20 years. Like this is when you have the in-depth conversations with your friends about the repercussions that this holds. Like,
and not to mention, that is so who Miranda has been. She's been the friend, like we've talked about, who tells you how it is and is like, you know what, you shouldn't do this because it'll have all these negative consequences. So for Carrie and Charlotte to not like step up to the plate and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I think that was a situation where I think were really like, we can't make it a bad thing that she's hooking up with Che, a non-binary person. So we're not going to talk about any negative aspects of it, where there is the negative aspect of the fact that she's literally cheating on her husband, who she has a whole child with. And like, you know what I mean? It was like, you have a whole family and no one's even like bringing that up really.
Yeah,
and like caring.
Yes.
And not to mention that like their families are just so close together that like they're all friends with Steve too. So it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like your friend that lives across the country that like you don't really know their husband. It's like we're supposed to be under the impression that you've known this man for 20 years and like he's been an active part of like your family. Like he was there for Carrie when Big died. Like this is a guy that we're all supposed to like and you guys are supposed to be friends with too. Obviously not to the same extent as Miranda, but like we're just supposed to think that no one was like, hey girl, did you think about what's going on here
with Steve?
I don't know.
And I saw this like tweet or Instagram or something as well. It was like, LOL when, and just like that makes you feel bad for the straight white man, or like in the one straight white man in the show, and you're like empathizing with him. Like that was the opposite of what they wanted you to do.
But it was so true. I literally was like, it is because they made Steve to be such a little lame loser. I don't know how
I know. Which like I just want to like keep rolling with this into episode 7. Can we talk about the finger banging scene? Can I say finger banging like out loud on this podcast? Like
it's your podcast,
but so, like I need permission because I feel like fucking disgusting.
you need to ask your audience for consent to say finger banging.
But like actually, please sound off in the comments if this is okay. Like we can do it for this one episode and then never again.
I feel good about that because there's no better time like the present in this situation. Because
what?
I have never felt more personally victimized by a situation in my entire life. I was like, what? This was another thing where I have never felt more like I'm in the room. I felt like I was present in the kitchen while this was happening. And the thing that gets me I binge watched Euphoria a week ago. I had never seen it. I watched all of season 1 into season 2.
Me too.
I have seen it all. In terms of HBO nudity and sex scenes, I've seen it all. Yeah. And that hasn't fazed me. Hasn't fazed me once. This caused me to have a visceral reaction in which I literally wanted to cease. I wanted to cease existing. I was like, this is I don't know how else to explain it. It was horrid.
It was so bad. Okay, yes or no? Sorry to put you on the spot. Yes or no? Would you be mad if you're hooking up with a guy and he washes his hands before he touches you?
I thought it was so interesting, but also he was like cleaning the dishes. So like maybe
I'm like, you're in the kitchen like doing food stuff. Like I'm gonna give you my answer.
You probably have food on your hands, so like yeah.
I thought it was fine.
I like that it was like obviously meant to like starkly contrast like the intensity and the passion with Che and how he's like, let me go wash my hands. He's such a little goober. Like I felt so bad for him. I literally felt so bad for him. And it's so weird because in that scene, I think you're supposed to be feeling bad for Miranda. You're supposed to be like, oh, poor thing. I did not feel that. I really didn't feel that.
Yeah.
I was like, this little goober has no idea what he's doing.
Okay, but also you don't. Okay, I just want to get into like we just need to talk about it. I'm just hyping myself up to like I need the courage. I want a glass of wine so fucking bad. Like
you need a bottle. Of
yeah,
wine
I
to
need
get
to be
through this.
blackout to have this conversation. No one forgets to finger bang.
No,
And
I
Steve
wouldn't think-
fucks. Like I just
it's like, is it not like riding a bike? I would think.
yes, 100%. And like, Kate, like in the TV show, she's like best sex of my life.
Yep.
You don't just forget that. Like, okay, I
You-
get that,
there's-
like, there's ebbs and flows. And, like, when you're older or comfortable with a person, yeah, it's probably not as,
Right.
like, spicy as it was when you first met. But, like,
But some could argue that it would be better.
yeah, because you, like, know what the person wants and stuff like that. Oh, my God. I just,
Like, did he not literally say, am I doing this right? Because I feel like he did. I think he may have said those words verbatim. It was the most awkward, clunky, and I know that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be
Yeah.
like, clearly they don't have any chemistry anymore. Like,
yeah.
so they did that. Like, mission accomplished. I definitely would never suspect that these two have any chemistry anymore. But oh my God, it was so raw. It was so in the moment. Like, it was, wow. I felt like I was there. I can't say that enough.
I know.
I was like turning away from my laptop. I was
Same.
like, no,
I
don't
literally
wanna,
think I had to pause it, like, to just regroup before I pressed play. Like, it was so
much.
so cringe. Once again, I am so excited to talk about season 3. I just saw Sarah Jessica Parker in her, I guess, Sex and the City 1 wedding dress to Big, but like repurposed, and I'm just so fucking excited. I have this weird fascination with like how celebrities and TV shows archive their shit. Like, I'm so fucking fascinated about the Kardashians, how they can, you know, Kim has like fucking storage rooms of clothes and shit that they wore, and it's all archived and cataloged and like stuff like that. And watching that and just like that like docu on HBO about making the show was just so fascinating to see them pull out old clothing pieces from the show. I'm not a huge fashion girly, and I didn't know it like affected me that much, but it really did. I guess that's just such a iconic part of the show. Like, it just puts you in a time and a place. Anyways, we're gonna hear from Nick in this next clip. We're gonna hear about Jordan and Aaron's relationship, or that's what we were talking about. We're more talking about Aaron's hair at this point. And spoiler alert, and then a little bit about his relationship with JoJo. So let's listen to clip number 4.
But yeah, I thought he was much more like schmoozing to like either be the next Bachelor
Exactly.
and start his career that way, or like schmoozing to get picked so that people loved him and he'd make headlines and be in magazines and get his, you know, college football broadcasting gig, and then he would separate from JoJo. But they seem to be legit.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know like anything about him, but the other thing that I like kind of thought was cute is he re-proposed to her with a new ring. I
I
think
just rolled my eyes so hard at that.
I know why.
I mean, sure. Like,
I thought that
To
was
me,
cute
that's-
because it was like, this was like basically fake on TV when I didn't know you and I only had these ring options, but this is like for real.
yeah, but that's super cute if I don't know about it.
Oh, I see.
It's
what
like
you're
one of
saying.
those things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you know, like the whole Rogers family is odd, but I do now think that I side more with like the Rogers family than Aaron, and I'm starting to think that like I initially thought that like he separated from them because they were what he seems to be showing himself to be, and it looks like maybe it's the other way, and they're like, this man, if he wasn't a football player, would be a cult leader.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's
Yeah.
like where we've got.
100%.
And I also hate what Aaron Rodgers looks like now, and I don't want to like be one to shit on appearances, but like he looks like he could be like starring in Alexander Hamilton with his greasy back hair.
What happened? I thought he was like kind of not hot, but like he was like a good looking like guy, and he looks
Yeah, he was
haggard.
Yeah, he is. Haggard's a great word. Yes, no, he definitely is. He used to have like, you know, like the stereotypical like shorter like
Yeah,
buzz cutty, like
yeah.
that type of hair, like, all American type face,
Mhm.
and now he looks like he's like somebody who's like down on his luck and is just like quitting life.
Yeah, it's like gross, like long hair. Yeah, we've really gone so hard on like long, shaggy hair and like unkept looks.
I've always hated anybody who looks like unkept. Like there's very
Yeah.
few, I think, guys that can like pull off like
Yeah,
longer
like
hair
Jason
like that.
Momoa. Like
And Aaron Rodgers is not one of them. I don't think you can do it with like thin hair. I think that might be what it is. Like you need to have like more like curly or some like volume in the hair.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it looks like you're wearing like
It looks like you just
you're like
accidentally
Davy Crockett with like a raccoon. That's the energy you're exuding. Like go find the Alamo and let's go.
Stop. I literally went to a wedding in like 2015 and I got my hair done at a salon and I thought it looked like Davy Crockett. I'll send you a picture.
I can see Torry Davy Crockett.
I'll send you a picture and I'll post it on socials. It's so fucking bad. It was like a
Was this right before New Year's?
Oh,
have we heard part of this story, or is this another bad haircut
no,
story?
this wasn't a haircut. I just got my hair like professionally done for a wedding. I was a guest at a wedding and I was like, I want to look like really
was it
good.
country themed?
No.
Oh.
It was just normal themed and it looked so bad. And like, you know when you just like have an idea in your head and you like bring a picture and then you just look like the complete opposite of, you're like, oh, it's not the haircut, it's like my bone structure. Like perfect. Like
oh yeah, it's not like
something
me,
fixable.
The parts of me I can't change. It's not how I'm wearing it, it's just that I can't wear it.
I'm literally dying. Yeah, that was like my exact thought pattern. It
and
was
then
just
the only way to recover from a situation is treating yourself to a nice little like cold drink. Like we'll get through this together, me and my $7 Starbucks coffee.
like literally, I was going on a folklore walk after that. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Maybe that's what Aaron Rodgers needs, though. Maybe he just needs, like, some, like, reality check. Like, now that him and Shailene are no longer together, he's going to take a hard look at himself in the mirror. He's going to go he probably drinks, like, black, like, hot, like, espresso coffee or something.
100.
And he's going to take, like, a walk by whatever beautiful sights there are in Green Bay, and then go to, like, Great Clips and get his hair cut.
Please get your hair cut. Let's move on to the next clip. This is with Sophie from bonus episode 16. Literally had so much fun recording this and I was dying, like just in absolute hysterics about Salvador's shrimp. There's not much else I can say. Let's listen to a little tidbit from Sophie and I. Mal and Sal, we literally only saw his performances and him setting up that romantic dinner date. I will say the food looked so good.
I would have said yes to the wedding just for the shrimp. I'm like, oh, you're making shrimp.
Oh my god, the shrimp looked so
I'm like,
good.
oh, you're making shrimp stir fry. I'm like, well, you lead with that, Sal. Yeah, of course I'll marry you.
100%. I think at the time I was eating like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. And I was like, I could go for I was like, oh, I could eat a shrimp stir fry right now.
When I see your Fruity Pebbles, I raise you like for chips and salsa verde. Like that's what I was having for my adult dinner. While this man like,
yeah, mine was dinner. Mine was dinner.
I'm pucking it, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, look at the smorgasbord of color. So much color. That's his.
I know, I haven't eaten a vegetable in like a week, and I was like, oh man, I like actually should eat a vegetable.
I'm screaming. Wait, I think there are vegetables there were tomatillos in my salsa verde, so that counts. And like so much sodium and high fructose corn syrup. But the way he was just like snapping it, he's snapping his wrist like he was doing a cooking show. I was just kind of like,
we see him on Top Chef or whatever next.
Oh my god, Torry, go back and watch the angles of how he put the pasta in and the pasta fanned out, and then they're showing like the texture of the bubbles and the water boiling over it and the shrimp. I was like, oh, and it's jumbo shrimp. Oh, it's jumbo shrimp. Like and then he's like, no, it's my signature dish. And I'm like, oh, he cooks. And then like cut to 30 seconds later, it's my only dish. If you don't get your thirsty ass out of here.
Yeah. Well, Shane only picked up takeaway for and rolling into actually another clip, this like story or tidbit with Cicely is just really true to my character. And if people know me in real life, because obviously like, you see most of me at RTBP, but like if you've been out to dinner with me or, one of my friends who receives updates about my haircuts and stuff like that, you'll know this is just very true to my character. So it's funny when it's, captured in an episode. So this is a clip from episode 97 where Cicely joins me and we were talking about haircuts and tipping. So enjoy. And then the other parts that I'm like sad about. Okay, so she got a dress made by Donatella Versace. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
Yeah, it was so beautiful.
I thought it was like, timeless and like showed off her legs and like, she wore like cute gloves, a veil, all of that stuff. I thought her like makeup, which was done by Charlotte Tilbury, was like really her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but apparently there was like some news articles I was reading that she like didn't love her dress.
Really?
And I was like, oh, that's sad. Like, it's like your day. You want like to love everything. But I feel like sometimes if I worked with a designer of a huge fashion house and they're like, I'm going to design you a custom dress for your wedding, and they design something and I hate it, I'm saying that I love it.
Literally us talking about earlier how I was asking Torry about her coffee. Or no, what were we talking about? Oh my god, this is getting derailed.
My nails.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that experience of going to the nail salon and when you arrive on time, but then you have to wait for 45 minutes, but being like, you know what, it's fine. My time is worthless. You guys do your thing. It's okay. So
like I'll just like I'll sweep your floors while I'm waiting. Like
exactly.
I'll hop in.
Just give me the nail polish. I'll do it myself actually, but then I'll pay you still. Like it's a whole thing. I'm so sorry for just being here.
Literally. Like I feel like it's like when you get a haircut and they spin you around and you have tears brimming your eyes, literally. And you're like it's perfect. I've never looked more beautiful.
Have you ever genuinely done that? Because I think I have actually left a salon and crying. Like I don't think I cried in the chair. Okay, yeah. Oh my god. Like
no, I'm just kidding.
I remember one time, like I don't think the haircut was even that bad, but I kind of went in like all excited to get a haircut, but I didn't really ask for the right thing. So basically, she just trimmed like a centimeter off my hair, and then I paid her like $80. And I was like, "What was that?" I just was overwhelmed and I cried.
You're like life's good.
Yeah,
like...
the trials and tribulations of being a Libra.
Yeah, like fuck. That's so true. As a Libra moon. But okay, so like have I had tears? I think the only time that I had like tears was I went like for my grade 12 grad, which for like American listeners, that's like prom. We just call it grad here. It's like weird, but it's like where you wear the dress and all that shit. And yeah, I left this long. She like cut my bangs that day, like really tiny, and it was 2010, so it was a side bang, but they were like up like on my forehead. And I like left. I was like, oh, love.
You're on the campaign trail. Like I've never been happier to be here.
That's the other thing. You can't just be like, oh, I like it. Okay, I'm gonna pay and go. You have to be like, I'm obsessed. Like, I've never been happier with the way that I look. Like, I have no body and like image issues. Yes. Yeah. You're like, you're the best hairdresser I've ever met. Like,
oh my god, this is
exactly what I wanted. Yeah, like it's honestly triggering.
Like I never felt more beautiful.
Yeah. You're like you're like, cool. So I'm going to be wearing a hat for 6 months, but like,
You went prom with a baseball hat on?
you're like, I wanted this. Like,
Dude.
you're like, I actually wanted to wear a toque for the foreseeable future.
Just honestly, shout out to the hairstylists out there. Like, sorry we're crying. I think they're doing their best.
Literally, I could also never be a hairstylist.
Oh,
like,
no.
I have
Oh my God.
I honestly like have so much respect for hairstylists because it's
Literally.
like
They're
I just
therapists.
couldn't.
They're like,
Oh yeah. Oh
even
yeah.
beyond the
Oh,
technical
yeah.
ability. Like, I feel like they just have
Yes.
like strong interpersonal skills usually.
100%. And I could never, because I could never provide a service to someone who could immediately look into a mirror and just be like, no.
Yeah.
Like the pressure and stuff, like
So subjective
all the
too.
respect. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And like people being like, I want this. And then the hairdresser being like, I don't know. Like that's not going to work for you for these reasons. And then people just being like,
Do
it. Do it anyways.
And then hating it after.
Yeah. Then crying.
This is a call out post
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Also, like the camp, I feel like I've done this where you find pictures online of what you want. It's literally like Bella Hadid vibes. Like it's like streetwear, model off duty, like best hair you've ever seen in your life. And you're like, yeah, can I just get that? And they're like, well, you know what? And they have to like sit you down. They're like, you are doing great, but this is not really in the foreseeable future for you.
Yeah, they're like, what do you like about this? Because if like I think it's more than just the haircut. Like I feel like. Oh my
so
god.
maybe
that's
Britt was
so
in that
funny.
situation, like just
Yes.
on just trying
She was
to
like
be there.
Donatella, like Bella, like
Oh, Italian hand gesture.
yeah. This is an audio only podcast, but we're making some probably inappropriate Italian stereotypical hand gestures.
Absolutely. sorry to be
Yeah,
Italian.
so honest, like maybe she's never been more relatable.
Yeah, that's actually so true.
We are rolling into a clip with Cam from the What I Will Say podcast. She was a first timer on RTBP, even though we have a collaboration in the works for Patreon. But I'm so excited. And this, like conversation about Lucas Grabeel, aka Ryan, from High School Musical, it just came up out of the blue, and those are some of my favorite things to talk about when it's like obviously not planned and stuff. So here is a clip from Cam and I from episode 107. I was listening to a podcast about High School Musical the other day, and they were talking about Ryan, Sharpay's brother, because Kenny Ortega, like a decade after the movie came out, was like, yeah, Ryan was probably queer coded. And then Lucas Grabeel, the actor, was like, well, if I knew that he was gay at the time, as a straight person, I wouldn't have chosen to play him.
Wait, that dude is straight?
Yes!
Oh, come on, girl.
Okay, but then he was in the Harvey Milk movie.
Wait a minute. Now, hang on. Hold on. Because the issue here is, so that was just fun acting choices that that dude made as a straight man?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right to me.
I know. It's like also the chemistry between Lucas and Corbin in the second movie didn't feel like acting to me.
Didn't feel like acting even. Yeah. I think we should get them on for comment, because I don't believe that. I would
honestly, I could probably get it on this podcast. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's thriving somewhere.
I mean, pulling for him, but
yeah.
I don't know that I'm picking up what he's putting down with that.
Anyways, that was so tangential, but I was just thinking about that.
He's like, if I had known he was queer, sweetie, you played that boy as a slur. Like, that was,
So freaking funny. We are moving on to the hot take episode with Carly on Patreon. It was Patreon episode 2. So a lot of you maybe haven't heard of this, but we were talking about Prince Will's hair, which has come up many times on this podcast over the last 4 years. I definitely need to reflect on that, but we were just talking about how I think he should get hair plugs. That was my hot take. Like, he should just take some time off from being a royal and get those hair plugs and come back as a new man. And then we had a little bit of a change of heart. So here is my clip with Carly from Patreon episode 2. If you have something that you don't love about yourself, okay, maybe it doesn't bother him. Maybe he has.
I was just gonna say that he's probably perfectly fine with his head. We're it's okay. You can do something if you need to.
He's probably oh yeah, it doesn't bother me. Whatever, it's just hair. And I'm
we're diving into his psyche right now. We're if it's really holding you back.
Yeah. If it's holding you back from being the king that you want to be, go get the hair transplant. I just think for celebs, or both Will and honestly, let's throw Harry into this too. Take a few months off because you can hide yourself, get a hair transplant, and just do it slowly over time. Honestly, Harry, jump on this because you 10 years down the road.
Harry, if you're listening.
Yes. Literally, the way that your hairline is going. This is such a funny clip. Sophie making her double debut. I think so. I've done these episodes. This will be my 3rd episode that I've done for these birthday clip shows. And in the first one, Champ had 2 entries into the top 10. Second year, Nick had 2 entries, and Sophie is coming in on the 3rd year with 2 entries. So this is us talking about Nick and Danielle's apartment, and I've shared this clip, I feel 100 times, so I don't know. It's an oldie but a goodie. Here is Sophie and I talking about Love is Blind. And then I just want to say also how tacky their apartment is.
Disgusting. Disgusting. But you know what's even worse than how tacky it is? Her mom. Oh my gosh, I love this place. Did you guys buy it with those lights on the wall? Bitch, you mean those Christmas lights that's taped to the wall?
I know she was talking.
She was so serious.
She was so serious, and she was talking about that it was an installation. Yeah. I'm dead. And I was no, that's college dorm room lights. But Nick is 36.
Nick is 36 and thought that's a great aesthetic. The mom is literally gagging, thinking this is raising their property value. I'm yeah. Everyone needs to calm the fuck down because are we seeing the same thing?
Yeah.
That moment killed me. I was
was so funny.
Okay.
And you just know the producers are fuck, we're just gonna bury them. We're just gonna show how trashy these people are. And we're rounding out the top 10 with another Patreon clip. I think this was episode 5 when I had Emily Rose from It's Become a Whole Thing and Lisa, who is one of my IRL friends, on to discuss the We charity scandal. I think that this is the biggest laugh I have ever had on an episode in 4 freaking years. I love talking trash about a fedora. Nothing gets me going like talking shit about a newsboy cap or fedora. They just should not exist in this world. And Lisa brought this up unexpectedly, and I literally died. My apologies to your ears in advance. Here is the last clip with Lisa and Emily talking about Craig Kielburger's choice in hats. Oh my God, yes. Okay, also, side note, this is getting so embarrassing. I hope people aren't listening by this point. But when Craig Kielburger got married, I was Devo.
Me too. I was like, my husband, what has happened?
I was like sad.
And like, when I met him, he was wearing a fedora, which like nothing against fedoras, but it's like, that's not like the epitome of like being super hot.
Oh my god. This is the true scandal. Is everyone, I guess I'm finding out everyone's lusting after Craig. Like I'm not saying I'm better than anyone because he just wasn't like, it wasn't like his face plastered everywhere when I was involved, but I'm like, this is something worth investigating. Like, which Canadians were horny for Craig back in the day?
I literally want to die. Like, I'm so embarrassed right now.
Yeah, just burn this audio when it's
honestly, like,
when
I'm
it's
like
done.
considering not putting no, I'm just kidding. And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. Whether today is your first episode or you've been with me for 4 years, I so freaking appreciate it. I've said this many times before, but I will say it again. This show is really the light of my life. It has been, again, like, it feels like my life's work at this point. And I just love the community that we are building. I also want to thank all of the guests that have been on my podcast since the last birthday episode I hosted. So that's Jenna from Date Card Pod, Taylor from That's the Tea podcast, Lisa from Lisa Rants, Breezy from Trash Rehash, Shannon from Fluently Forward, Sam and Shelby from the ROM Complex, Kara from Everybody's Business But Mine, Emily Rose from It's Become a Whole Thing, Bix and Liv from In the Moment, Ashley from at Ash Talks Badge, Kirsten McInnes from Mess Magnets, Maddie from Parked Car Convos, Sophie from Unpaid Emotional Labor, my friend Dana, my friend Nick, Christy from X Knows All, my friend Carly, Sydney and Shannon from Never Let Go, Amelia Wedemeyer from The Ringer, my friend Champ, Morgan P from Morgan's Pop Talks, Haley and Amy from The Bachelor Wrap Ups, my IRL friend Courtney, Bailey from Kinda Cute, Sammy P from It's Become a Whole Thing, Kelly R from Boobies and Newbies, Vanessa from Best Week Ever, Logan and Zoe from Honestly, Layla from TikTok, Cicely, one of my IRL friends, Chloe Veach from The Circle, Molly and Denise from Gossip That's Good For You, Lauren and Jordan from Centennial Beauty, Lindsay, my IRL friend, Leah from the Ashley and Jessica cast, Cam from What I Will Say, Sherry from TikTok, Emily and Margot from The Old Millennials, Leah from Trash Rehash, Nicole from Silent Podcasts and the RHAP Network, Sharon Dawn from the Chattermouths, my IRL friend Kenzie Cates, Kelly Williams from Laguna Biatch and Beyond the Blinds, Sasha from Mess Magnets, my IRL friend Lisa, Nora from State of the Union podcast. Are people still listening to this? Brett and Mad, my cousins. And I think that's it. Oh my gosh. This year, I'm going to have so many more fun guests, new and returning. And I am so freaking excited for another year of RTBP. And I can't believe next year we'll celebrate our 5th year anniversary. That is just so crazy. Thank you so much if you are a patron. And I really can't say thank you enough. Seriously. I so appreciate it. So this was a lot of fun and you are safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Torry, and I am ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.